Let's check in with the Nigerian bourse is trading now. It's down 3.6% year to date, and many anticipated that post-election the bourse we'd see an increase in the performance on that side, but there hasn't been that. It's falling. It continues to fall. We've got Adegboyega Adebajo, head of corporate finance and advisory services at Diamond Capital, standing by on the line. Adegboyega, is there any reason to be optimistic about the second half of 2011?
Morning, Samantha. I certainly am not too optimistic. If you just think about it for a moment, we've got barely 5 months to the end of the year. It's interesting that right now you've got the Labour Congress thinking of a 3-day warning strike to the government because the minimum wage is expected to be implemented. And what usually happens with an increase in wages is an increase in prices. I think with that happening, with inflation going up, it's not likely we will see the kind of disposable income available for local investors to play in the markets.
Which stocks is this likely to have the biggest impact on if we have disposable incomes under pressure and we see inflation rates sitting in double digits, 12.4% year on year in May, and it doesn't look set to come down anytime soon?
Well, typically I'll be looking at the food and beverages sector. I can look at flour mills because flour is used in a lot of daily meals. And then again, I look at a company like Nestle because they also have a lot of fast-moving consumer goods. Now, these are two companies whose products are typically dependent on sales on a daily basis through large distributors. And they've got factories churning out these products on a regular basis. Now, take flour mills, for instance. They've done pretty well in terms of their financial year into March this year. Things are looking pretty good for them, and the corporate benefits announced to their shareholders are quite good. But they were affected by the increase in wheat prices last year, although those prices are beginning to come down. But I am wondering if they're going to be able to sustain the level of activity which they had last year, given the rest of the year.
Cadbury Nigeria, also another stock to look at. It's had quite a good turnaround story there, but it has lost market share. Do you think it's going to be able to maintain its return to profitability in light of falling disposable incomes in the country?
Well, I'd like to keep Cadbury on a watch list here, essentially because I'm pretty much aware that they've got a pretty good strategy in place in terms of how they want to approach the market. But I dare say the kind of slowdown we've experienced, first of all, in the first few months of this year, because of the elections that were coming up in April. And then post-elections, we've had a delay in both the federal and state governments putting together their cabinets and in activities starting. And right now we're about halfway through July. We typically will not have much activity in November and December. So it's pretty much very little to do this year. I'd like to see how Cadbury is going to tackle this. As you're aware already, some companies have been suspended on the stock exchange because Q1 and Q2 results that should have been returned are not there. We are actually waiting to hear what the results are like for a lot of these companies, including Cadbury. It will be a pointer to see if they've been able to sustain the profitability they achieved in 2010.